Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name's Lizzie and today I have a sew and tell video for you. Now I've actually been quite busy it seems with my sewing, but these are things that I've made over the last few months and it's essentially my summer sewing. So I'm pretty late in the summer to actually show this stuff to you, but I'm really pleased with what I've made. And actually I was kind of making all this stuff in the vague hope that we would have had some summer weather this year. We did have some lovely summer weather in sort of June and July, but August was a bit of a washout. It's now the very beginning of September, and actually I'm so lucky because I did manage to squeeze in a last minute holiday abroad with my husband. That's all kind of currently allowed at the moment in the UK to certain countries. And yeah, we went on a last minute holiday to Croatia. We had the most lovely time. So actually I've managed to get a few photos of me wearing these makes on our holiday in Croatia. I feel so lucky that we were able to do that. And yeah, I'm going to show you what I made. The first thing that I made is actually the least seasonal thing that I've made. This is more of an all year round make, but I made another V8772 blouse, which is a Vogue pattern. Is it the V8? Yes, V8772 blouse, and I made it in this gorgeous Liberty Tana lawn fabric. I love this fabric. It's a black background with speckles of green and a little bit of mustard yellow, some white, some tiny flecks of red and pink actually, but it's mostly green. And I really like it. I made view B, no I didn't, I made view D, which is the standard sort of blouse slash shirt. It's got a traditional collar, it's got a lapped cuff, and it's like a standard shirt length that just kind of goes over your hips. I'll put in a photo of me wearing it, but I love it. I'm so pleased with it. I've been wearing it to work. I'm sort of in a bit of a hybrid, part working from home, part working from the office state at the moment. And yeah, I've been wearing it tucked into a pair of black trousers and I really enjoy wearing it. The Liberty Tana lawn, I've never, actually that's not true, I have sewn with it. I've made a dress out of it before. But it's such a lovely fabric to wear. I kind of understand why the price point is where it is because they have such beautiful designs, but it's just so breathable and lovely to wear. I think in the winter I can wear this with like a blazer over the top or with like a jumper over the top with the cute little collar details poking out the top of the jumper. Yeah, I think this is going to be a work staple for me and I'm really looking forward to making some more. So I'm now on the hunt, or going to keep my eye out for some more fabrics that I could use to make some nice work shirts and blouses. I had made this pattern once before. I've made a leopard print version in like a viscose fabric, so it's quite a different feel, but I actually did do a fitting video, so if you want to know about the fit adjustments that I made, I'll link that video in the description box or put it in the corner now. The next thing that I made is very much a summer piece, and it is a swimsuit. This fabric is gorgeous ex-designer dead stock fabric that I bought from the new craft house. I think I bought it last year actually, it was a while ago. And it's this beautiful, quite autumnal colours actually, these beautiful kind of peachy, orangey, golden flowers. Yeah, and I've made the Olivia one piece. The pattern is by Edgewater Avenue. I'll put some pictures in so you can see more of the details. And it's a lovely, it's got a low, kind of a relatively low scoop at the back. It's kind of straight across the front with a slight scoop to it, which I think is really elegant. And it's quite high-legged. In fact, I'd say it's very high-legged. But there are different choices for this pattern of levels of coverage for the back. So you can either have the full coverage option, which covers most of your bum cheeks, or you can have the cheeky version or the thong version. I actually started by making the cheeky version and it came out really quite thongy on me. So I actually recut the back piece with the full cover, or the full coverage option, or the fullest coverage option, which I felt more comfortable with. However, I do think that the reason it turned out quite so thongy on me when I made the cheeky version was because it was way too short in the body for me. So I did actually, luckily I made like a toile, I guess, in the lining fabric and tried that on, and that's when I realised that it was just way too short in the body for me. I had measured my torso using the kind of guidance given by Edgewater Avenue, but I clearly didn't get it quite right, or I misjudged it, because yeah, I thought that it was going to be long enough in the body. I should have known I have to lengthen almost all patterns in the body because I have a really, really long torso. So I ended up adding, I can't remember how much I added. I'm not sure, and I've failed to note it down in my notebook, so I'll have to go back to the pattern pieces to figure that out. But I ended up adding, I think I probably added about 4 or 5 centimetres to the torso, and it now fits much, much better. I had to shorten the straps a lot, which is quite a tricky thing to do, because the method that Edgewater Avenue teaches for constructing the swimsuit it's a really great technique actually. I really like it. It actually allows the swimsuits to be reversible if you'd like them to be. I've actually top stitched mine in place so that they are no longer reversible, because I just lined it. I didn't want it or need it to be reversible, so I've just used some simple like beige lining fabric. But the construction method means that it's quite complex to kind of shorten the straps, because I kind of had to do a bit of unpicking and turn it all in the right way again. It all kind of unfurls, it's all tucked in on itself, and then at the last minute you unfold everything and it's like a ta-da moment. So I chopped a lot off the straps, but I'm really pleased with it. I really like the shape of the pattern at the front. I might in the future alter the pattern slightly so that it's not quite so high-legged, because I think it just suits my body shape a bit better for it to be slightly lower on the hips. But I'm really pleased with it, and I love this fabric. I hope that New Craft House gets some more dead stock swimwear in next summer, because I mean, this is just such an unusual print. I don't think I would find anything like this anywhere else. So yeah, successful make. The next thing that I would like to show you is this. It is a sheared dress. Just look at that lovely stretch in that shearing, and I'll put pictures in so you can see, but it's in this lovely red viscose linen fabric that I actually bought from Sew Me Sunshine back in 2018. This was a fabric I bought when I did a bit of a binge on the Sew Me Sunshine website, and I had vague plans in mind, but I've kind of since learnt that it's better for me to buy like fewer bits of fabric at a time. I don't work well with buying lots of fabric all at once, because by the time I get around to sewing them, I've either maybe not as inspired anymore, or maybe I'm not so keen on my original plan for the fabric, and that's kind of what happened with this one. I was no longer keen on my original plan for this, and it just took me ages to figure out what I wanted to make with it instead. Also, I only bought 1 metre, so I was always going to be really restricted with what I could make out of this viscose linen. But I'm just amazed that I managed to squeeze this dress out of it. It's just got little straps like this, and it's actually a completely zero waste garment, because I used the entire metre of fabric. All I did was cut a strip off the bottom that I then used to make the little straps, and I'm so pleased with it. There's no pattern. I followed the tutorial on the By Hand London blog, and By Hand London have got a blog post that teaches you how to make a sheared dress, and yeah, I'm really, really pleased with the result. I would say a word of warning if any of you think, oh brilliant, maybe I can make a sheared dress out of 1 metre of fabric. This fabric is 145 centimetres wide, so quite a standard width, and actually I think I could get away with it because I've got quite slender hips, so there was enough fabric to still have some flow and like movement around my hips. If you're somebody that's maybe a bit more pear-shaped or is a bit fuller on the hips, you might find that there isn't enough kind of width in the fabric for it to comfortably go around your hips without being sort of tight. But it depends on the look you're going for, of course. But yeah, I think that's kind of why I could get away with only 1 metre of fabric, which was great. I really enjoyed the process of learning about shearing. I'd never done it before, and I found it quite intimidating. I mean, just it looks tiny, it looks like it would never fit me, but it's so stretchy, and I really like the feeling of wearing it, because I feel really quite sort of supported, like my boobs feel supported, and it's just a really nice feeling to wear. I used a tutorial, I did a bit of Googling before I started the shearing, and obviously did quite a bit of testing on some scrap fabric to figure out the whole shearing thing, and it is a lot easier than I thought. I was really quite intimidated by the idea of shearing. I thought it was going to be really tricky. I thought I was going to have to do loads of fiddling around with the settings on my sewing machine. I didn't. It was so much more straightforward than I thought. You basically leave your top thread in as normal, that's just normal thread, but you put shearing elastic onto your bobbin, and it's just much less difficult than I thought. I watched a video by the Stitch Sisters on their YouTube channel that basically shows you how to set up your sewing machine to do shearing, and it was great. It was much easier than I thought. So if you were like me and a bit scared, don't be scared. It's so worth giving it a go. The next garment that I made is the one that I'm wearing right now, and this is my absolute favourite thing I've made this summer. I love it so much. I'll put some pictures in so you can see what it looks like, but this is a Deer and Doe myosotis dress. The only kind of major change, well, the only slight change I made to the pattern was that I lengthened the main skirt piece to make it a bit longer. So I think the standard myosotis dress would be sort of a mini or midi length dress, whereas I've turned it into slightly more of a maxi length dress because the main skirt panel is a bit longer. I'd already made a couple of myosotis dresses in the past, and I have done a fitting video on it, so I'll link that in the description and in the corner in case you'd like to hear about the fit adjustments that I made to this pattern. I love it when I've already made a pattern before and I don't need to do all the fit adjustments again, because it just means I can get the pattern pieces out and just get sewing straight away, which is brilliant. I made the version with short sleeves, which is lovely for summer, and I did the longer skirt piece and put the ruffle piece on the bottom as well. I also added waist ties, which is something that I've done on my previous versions because I just like to be able to pull it in a little bit just to give slightly more shape to the dress. The fabric that I used is a viscose challis fabric that I bought from Minerva Crafts. It's gorgeous. It's in this ink blue colour. It's so light and lovely, but it's also pretty opaque. So once you've got it sewn up into a garment, it's, very opaque. I don't feel the need to wear a slip, and I certainly didn't line it. I love this dress. I'm so glad I made it. It was so wonderful to wear on holiday, to be able to waft around and feel floaty and cool and have this nice swishy fabric against my legs. It's totally converted me to the idea of maxi length dresses. I've never worn long dresses before. I've always gone for mini or sort of to the knee length dresses, and I just feel really elegant in this dress. I feel really grown up, but I also feel like it can be somewhat casual, styled with like a casual jacket and my Birkenstock sandals, but I also feel like if I put on some nice jewellery and some lipstick, I could easily dress it up for like a slightly more dressy summer evening. I love it. I definitely want to make another one next summer in probably another solid colour. I just really like this this lovely solid viscose challis fabric. The next thing that I made is another, well, it's a swimwear set. I made a bikini, and I made this in the final few days before we went on holiday, once that we'd got our trip like booked and confirmed. And swimwear is great for that because it's really quick to sew. So it didn't take me long at all to whip these two things up, but I made a bikini. Both of the patterns are Edgewater Avenue, and I made the alley top, which is this top. I love the delicate straps. I love the shape of them kind of going straight into the cups, and the cups have got this tie detail in the middle where you literally tie it together, and then the back of the bikini is just straight across the back, which I really like. It's got no fastening. I find not like bikinis where you have to tie it together the absolute worst, because if you're relaxing on a sun lounger, say, or just laying on a towel on the beach, you've got like the knot of the bikini digging in your back, which is not nice. So I really like that this is just a straight piece of fabric across the back. Then to go with the alley top, I made the Ranger bottoms, which look like this. They don't look great, just hung like held, so I'll put some pictures in. But these are quite high-legged, and they've got a lovely sort of scooped shape on the front and on the back, which I think is really flattering. And I made the cheeky version, which means they have like a bit of bum cheek on show. I think they also do a full coverage version maybe, and also a thong version. So I think like the Olivia swimsuit, I think there's 3 different coverage levels, and I really like that. I like that you can customise it to the level of coverage that you're comfortable with, because obviously some people would prefer to be have their bottom completely covered. Some people, I don't know, want to get tan bum cheeks or whatever. I certainly don't aim to get a tan because, as you can tell, I've just come back from a week's holiday and I'm very, very fair still. I, you know, hide in the shade and wear lots of Factor 50 and enjoy the sun and enjoy the warmth from the shade, basically. But I just like the look of the sort of cheeky shape. This fabric is actually left over from a previous project, which is another reason I love making swimwear, because you don't need very much fabric, particularly if you're making a bikini rather than a swimsuit. This fabric was originally from Minerva, and it's a leopard swim fabric, and it's lined in the same kind of standard swim fabric that I lined the Olivia swimsuit in. I can't remember where I bought that from, but if I can, I've probably got it written down somewhere, so I'll link it in the description box below, if it's still available. I've learnt a lot in making these few pieces. I've learnt the kind of method that, the construction method that Edgewater Avenue likes to use, which I think works really well. It gives a nice professional finish, like I think slightly more of a professional finish than the method for the Megan Nielsen Cottesloe swimwear, because I believe, unless I was just doing it wrong, I think when I made my Megan Nielsen Cottesloe, the method was basically to kind of attach the elastic and then fold the elastic in and kind of top stitch it down. But this, I think it's all a bit more hidden and slightly more professional, which I like. I've just been sewing this swimwear all on my sewing machine using a zigzag stitch. I'm a bit scared to try and do it on my overlocker because me and my overlocker, we don't have a love-hate relationship, but we don't have a loving relationship. We kind of tolerate each other, and I'm not sure I can be bothered to try and figure out how to attach elastic using my overlocker. There could just be way too much unpicking if that goes wrong. But yeah, quick and easy to sew. I mean, easy, not easy. Once you get the hang of it, it's easy. And I did have to watch quite a few of the tutorial videos on the Edgewater Avenue YouTube channel to really get a hang of the construction and how to apply the elastic. But now I've made a few swimwear pieces, I'm much more comfortable with the sort of tension I need to put on the elastic as I'm sewing it. And yeah, I'm getting better and better, so that's good. I'm looking forward to making more swimwear next year. The only kind of hurdle with these was that the top has turned out to be pretty tight. I will definitely size up if I make another one next year, because yeah, it's a bit tight, which is a shame, but it's still wearable, just a bit tight. It would be more comfortable if it was the next size up. Last but not least, I've made another very summery dress, which I absolutely love. I'll put some pictures on screen, but first I'll tell you about the fabric. Now, this fabric is from Lamazi Fabrics, and it's a tensile lawn. It's called the Abstract Geo Tensile Lawn. It's 100% tensile lyocell, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so lovely and summery. It makes me think of like the Greek islands that have the blue and white buildings on it. And yeah, this is it's a combination of two patterns. So the top is, or the bodice of the pattern is the By Hand London Eloise dress, and it's the version with no sleeves and with waist ties. I really like that the waist ties just cinch it in a little bit. It's got a lovely keyhole detail at the back and is fastened just with a covered button, so really simple in terms of fastenings, no fiddly zips or anything. I chose to finish the neckline and the armholes with bias binding. The pattern does provide pattern pieces to do a facing for the neckline, but this fabric and this tensile lawn is quite a bit lighter weight than this viscose challis, so I was worried that the facing might be visible. So I decided to use a bias binding, which I'm really pleased with. It was a bit fiddly. I'm not that experienced with bias binding yet, but I think it's a good finish. The skirt I attached is the Deer and Doe Myosotis dress. So I was basically so in love with this blue dress that I made that I wanted to create something similar but different. So I used the skirt pieces for the Myosotis, and I kind of figured out roughly where I wanted the waistline to be, and essentially chopped off I measured how long I wanted the Eloise section to be, and then attached the Myosotis dress skirt. Because of the fact that this fabric is a bit more lightweight than this fabric, I thought that it might do the dress good to have a bit more fabric in the gathered skirt section. So I used the Myosotis like main skirt piece to get, you know, the length of the pattern piece and to mark, you know, the notches for the pockets and that kind of thing. But I actually used the entire width of the fabric for the skirt. I had plenty of fabric and I wanted to make sure that it was nice and full and it wasn't going to be like see-through or anything. I thought the more fabric will help with that. That was a really good shout. It did mean that I had to do a bit of maths to figure out how many of the ruffle pattern pieces I needed to cut. And actually I think my maths was a bit out because I ended up with a long enough ruffle for the bottom, you know, to hem the skirt with, but the ruffle is barely gathered. So I think actually it would have been a bit better if that ruffle piece was even wider, but it still works. There's plenty of fabric here, so it didn't really matter that the ruffle is not overly ruffled. It still works. I had made the By Hand London Eloise dress before, so I'd already done kind of pattern alterations. I don't think I've made a fitting video on that one yet, but I did, I believe, do a small bust adjustment, was sort of the main adjustment that I made, and I'm pretty sure I raised the armhole. Those are kind of my standard adjustments that I tend to need to make. I'm so pleased with this. It's so lovely to wear. I loved wearing it on holiday. Just having this, the fabric, this viscose, not viscose, this tencel lawn just feels so soft and cool and lovely on your legs, kind of swooshing around. So it's the perfect summer dress. I love it, and I really hope that we get some nice summer weather next year so I can wear it lots next year. And who knows, I think we might be forecast to have a few more days of nice summer weather this September, so fingers crossed I might even get to wear it a few more times before we turn to autumn weather. But yeah, those are all of the things that I have made this summer. I really hope you enjoyed seeing them. Please do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!